Yes, there's the idea of getting everybody to host everything themselves and getting people to be like personally responsible. And there is a ideal in that direction that should be built, and for the people that want to do that, and that should be inclusive with any protocol like Nostr or like what we're doing with PubKey. But you also have to consider that there are use cases for the internet that will always benefit from centralization. Like the internet is not Bitcoin. The internet is, we're trying to get people to gather in as large a way as possible sometimes. Like you want, like when you have a marketplace of ideas, you want as many ideas as possible. When you have a marketplace of products, you want as much competition as possible. And so this is part of the reason why something like uh, Twitter or X becomes such a focal point and has such a shelling point, is that people just want the maximum exposure when they're using X, and you'll see people differentiate. Like Blue Sky is like becoming more left, and Oster is more Bitcoiny and whatever. But the problem ultimately is that, and why I brought up this kind of topic is being bullish, is that we will always need hosts. And we will always need this to respect this relationship of where no matter what situation you have from a physics standpoint, the host is going to be the one who makes the rules. And so we need to make it so hosts can host safely. And whether that be you hosting something yourself, X hosting it, or Google Cloud hosting it, or anywhere in between in that spectrum, we're always going to need that. And so that's my intro into comparing PubKey or describing PubKey and contrasting it a little bit with Nostr, in that what is majorly different with PubKey is simply that it is using your public key as your domain name. And we accomplish this through putting the equivalent of a DNS record inside of what's called mainline DHT. Mainline DHT is the network that basically powers the BitTorrent network. We don't use BitTorrent torrents and file replication for anything. We only use the DHT, and we only use it to store a key-signed DNS record. What that means is you can literally have your public key, or as many public keys as you want, act like a domain name and resolve through the DHT. So you don't need to resolve through ICANN. You don't need to worry about whether or not you're censored, even if you use trusted endpoints. So what I mean by that is, if you take this key, your pub key, and you put these records in the DHT, you could point them to a server that you are self-hosting, right? And now you're living the dream, right? But you could also point them to a server that is trusted, where you have an account, and still use it the same way and have the same experience, where if that entity now censors you, all you need to do to hot swap your location is copy your data somewhere else and update your DNS record. And so you can't really be censored anymore in the practical sense, as long as you are either willing to host it yourself, or you can find an alternative host from the one that banned you or whatever. So this is why I'm interested in more leniency around hosting and things, is because we figured out a way to make servers safe to use for the users, you know what I mean, where they won't be trapped in a walled garden, where they have a credible exit, where they can be in more control and have interoperable applications and such on the identity level. But we still need servers. And so the whole idea with PubKey is just to basically show that you can have a key-based web, and that you can have it be something where you can use servers safely. You don't have to be anti-server.
Today's Bullish Bit was brought to you by CoinKite, makers of the Cold Card Q, my personal choice for securing my Bitcoin and self-custody. You can check them out by scanning the QR code or clicking the link in the show notes down below.